Welcome into this Monday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio here with you to start another week. We had a brief hiatus at the end of last week. We'll be back with you today. A full allotment of shows this week as it's a busy week for Ole Miss baseball. 5 games coming up for them. They've got a couple midweeks. And then the last non-conference series of the season against Oral Roberts this weekend. Ole Miss basketball in Tampa on Wednesday night, facing the Missouri Tigers after losing to Vanderbilt 66-63 on Saturday for Senior Day there in Oxford. I think they were going to play Vanderbilt either way, right, Neal? Was that play Missouri, sorry,
yes,
right? There was no bearing on the outcome to who they played.
I don't believe there was. I don't think a more meaningless game has been played in a long time.
Okay. So they were the number 13 seed in the SEC tournament. Georgia, number 14. I think they finished 1-17 in the league.
Georgia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what they did? Tom Crean has one more game left as the Georgia head coach, I assume.
That would be my bet.
So we'll talk some baseball, some basketball, some combine. Had a busy recruiting weekend. A lot of recruiting content up at rebelgrove.com. Stories, chicks, stuff, and 10 thoughts. A lot of different things there.
Yep.
With that, so plenty of stuff going on this week. And on the podcast is brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. Let them take care of you with lunch specials, $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drink. Check out their hot cakes, pork, chicken, side items, desserts, and plenty more as well. And we're still trying to give you $10. You can do that by just taking a picture of the QR code, opening up the Exxon mobile app, and right there on the tank you are filling up, you get 1,000 points. 1,000 points equals $10. There with all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done. But I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. You'll love the service. You'll love the product, of course. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. The car market's changed. You want somebody who's looking out for your business. And Corey's that guy. Again, 662-257-1900. Guest, join us this week on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford, a great place if you're coming up for baseball this weekend, if you're looking for a place to watch NCAA, I guess SEC, Big 10, Big 12, all those tournaments are getting rolling this week. They'll be on at Rafters. Grab a burger, a po' boy, an appetizer, a beer, full bar, the whole deal there at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and also in New Albany.
Yeah, it was kind of a nutty day in the Big Ten from basketball yesterday. Wisconsin blowing a game against Nebraska, which allowed Illinois to steal a share of the Big Ten title from a regular season standpoint yesterday. I forget who Illinois beat to pull that off, but
I don't remember.
You remember either? I know Hoiberg and Nebraska beat Wisconsin, but I don't remember who Illinois. Iowa, maybe.
Oh,
was that right? I don't know.
Hell,
it doesn't really matter.
I didn't watch anything yesterday. Kind of took the day off from sports. I don't think I watched a single moment of sports.
Was there a reason behind that?
No. Just sometimes I get burned out on sports, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I just get really burned out on sports. I don't – like people ask me all the time, like, what sports podcast do you listen to? Really none. There's a Oklahoma City Thunder podcast that I listen to occasionally. Certainly not every time. But like in terms of like Dan Patrick or any of those type shows, never. Literally never. Like not 1 minute a year.
I would run, this is probably 10 years ago, I would run to a couple like the morning talk shows or whatever, national, like when they went into podcast form as the best of, where you're just getting like the 45-minute whatever.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, that's been a decade. I mean, since then, that's a good point. I mean, for the most part, it's frankly kind of what you've done, like some Food Network, some stuff. Just get away from the sport. Like, just let me just something a little different, little whatever. There's so much of it. We're inundated with it constantly.
Yeah.
That I watched like the last 5 holes of the golf tournament yesterday, and that was probably about it.
I watched, let's see, basically did recruiting all day Saturday. I watched the last handful of minutes of Arkansas, Tennessee,
mm-hmm.
and then I watched, I made myself watch Ole Miss Vanderbilt. I watched some of Duke UNC just because I enjoyed the clown car nature of it all. And that's about it. I had the house to myself on Saturday night, and I watched some Food Network. Actually, I watched the Cooking Channel.
Oh,
but not much
variety. Look at you.
And then I went to bed 10:30. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's over.
A little Cooking Channel and in bed.
I
Big
guess
Saturday
so.
night. I mean, that was.
Yeah. I mean,
did you have some O'Doul's too? Some non-alcoholic beer?
No. I fixed a margarita. It was good.
They're so easy to make fun of, and it's much more easy. It's much more fun to make fun of them. You got to give Penny some credit. Now, look,
sure,
they're going to go dancing. They've won 11 of 12, whatever it is. As somebody said in the stream, he almost got his damn self fired. What he did was remarkably stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't apologize for what he did in Oxford. I mean, when I said, dudes, I've watched basketball a long time. I looked at their bench.
They were dead in the water.
Their bench was terrible. Yeah. They were playing Imani Bates 30-something minutes, and he wasn't ready to play. They were bad. I mean, kudos to him for turning it around. It doesn't change the fact that on that day in December, they were a train wreck. Yeah. It just doesn't change that.
And the day he yelled at Calkins, train wreck.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Now, I never would have given them a chance to run off this level of run. Now, they are more talented than most of the teams they play. So if they just kind of get out of their own damn way, they're going to win most of these games.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
they sweep Houston.
I give them a ton of credit for turning it around. He obviously listened to some criticism, and he fixed some things. Rasheed Wallace is not on their bench anymore.
Sure.
Bates isn't playing. They're going through Jalen Duren now. And when they played in Oxford, I didn't even notice Jalen Duren, who's a lottery pick, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Duren's probably the 6th, 7th pick in the draft. I didn't even notice him in Oxford. I forgot he was there. Everything was about Imani Bates, the 17-year-old kid who's got a great reputation and I'm sure a very bright future, but he's not ready yet. They were bad. All the people are, you guys were wrong. No, that day I wasn't wrong. I mean, I can't see into the future. Credit to him for turning it around. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's growing up as a coach. But on that day, his program, his team, was a train wreck.
Yeah.
Two things can be true at once.
And they're not a Sweet 16 contender right now.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I'd say that. When you have a big like Duren and you have guards who can get him the ball, depending on your draw, sure. He's really good. And they're finally using him. He's the focal point of their team.
Mm-hmm.
In December, again, he was an afterthought. And that was completely on Penny Hardaway, 1,000,000%. But he's fixed it, and he deserves all of the credit.
Yeah. Only real news that has come out of the weekend: Ole Miss taking 2 out of 3 from Central Florida. Kevin Graham getting hurt on Saturday afternoon. This is the 10th inning. He hit a ground ball to third base. The throw pulled the first baseman off the bag, and when the first baseman came down with the tag, it sort of tripped up Kevin. He fell. And when he fell, he tumbled and braced his fall with his wrist. He jammed his wrist. It was incredibly sore. He wore a splint on Sunday. Mike said they had x-rays done in Orlando. Had them sent back to Oxford, which I didn't really understand. I'm sure somebody in Orlando could read an x-ray, but whatever. That's not really my
x-ray readers in Orlando?
I mean, I would assume that, it was kind of a weird statement. Like, I didn't have the energy or the desire to follow up and really try to get to the bottom of it, so I kind of just went, okay.
Is it a contract thing? They're required to send it back to Oxford?
I don't know. So it said that
people get pretty sensitive here if you move stuff around now.
Yeah, and no, never mind.
You didn't say it. I did.
No, but I'm not going down that road right now. So we were a splint. They sent X-rays back here. Mike said he's going to see a doctor here today. I think Mike even said they might get more X-rays done today. I don't know. I got a little confused by that part of it, and then they'll find out more. I don't know that it's overly serious, but the fact that he obviously could not swing a bat yesterday is somewhat significant. So,
yeah.
I mean, is it fracture or something? I don't know. No clue. And I have no idea what the recovery of that is either.
A lot of bones in the wrist.
There are a lot of bones in the wrist.
But I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I have not seen the X-ray, and I couldn't read it if I did.
You could throw me the X-ray, and unless it's pretty glaring.
It would have to be one of those, the compounds, where, hey, that's separated. That's a problem. I have a hunch.
I will say, if it's going to happen, you'd rather it happen now.
Oh, sure. This is much better than May 10th.
Yeah, May 10th he's done for the year if it's a fracture. Now he's done until middle of April, probably.
Yeah. I'll try to get some thoughts on what potential prognoses are there in the next couple of hours. Yeah, speaking of SEC, Landon Sims leaving his start. He had struck out 11 of 12 Green Wave batters on Friday night when he threw a pitch and did a pretty telltale sign of a hand losing feeling in his hand. He started kind of wiggling his fingers in his hand. I have had that. It means your UCL is impacted in a very serious way. I would assume that they're going to come out today and say he does have a UCL tear. I talked to a couple doctors about it. There's a possibility because of how he acted that it is a nerve relocation issue where the ulnar nerve is coming out of its groove, and that is causing tingling and numbness and different things.
But even then, they'd have to go in and fix it, right?
You could steroid him up and try to stabilize it and maybe get through it, but you're really tinkering at that point, and at some point, something would need to be.
Yeah.
Especially if it was continuing to happen.
Yeah.
But this is 8:20 as we're talking, so they might come out in 20 minutes and say it's torn or not torn or whatever. But as my indication right now is that yes, he definitely has a UCL issue at that point. So
sucks for the kid. It really does.
Oh, I mean,
terrible.
You
always hate that for pitchers. I mean, he threw a lot of high pressure, max effort pitches last summer, and you just wonder if that took a tear, took a load.
He's an interesting draft guy because he throws the hell out of it. I still think he's a reliever at the next level. He still has no tape, if you will, on starting for the most part, other than these couple weeks. It's high impact. It's not an easy delivery at all that he has. It's interesting kind of what happens with him moving forward at this point. I don't know. That's a tough one, but either way, State they're a little fat and happy coming off a title. It happens. It's understood. They also have just some roster issues, frankly. They have very little pitching. Their bullpen was already a disaster prior to Sims going out. They lose 2 out of 3 against Tulane over the course of the weekend, including blowing a 10-2 lead on Saturday. They were up 10-2 and got beat 11-10. Tulane tied it in the ninth with a fly ball where they tagged up 2 runners on the same play and scored a runner from second to tie the game.
It's like Major League.
It's a little late. Yeah, there is that play in Major League, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
2-run score on a bunt.
Oh, well, that too. But did they score on a sac fly too at one point during the montage?
I can't remember.
Where he slides in and he turns this way and the other guy. I think they're playing the Twins. God, why do I know this?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll
have to go back and look for it.
I think that's right if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, something like that. So State 6-6 on the season, and they have 2 midweek games with Texas Tech and Biloxi, so not getting any easier for the Bulldogs. And just Tulane's not a bad team, but they're piling up some bad losses. I mean, they're getting some RPI bombs on this thing. It's definitely a problem at this point. They have lost as many games already as you really can lose in the non-con and still host unless you throw up some crazy-ass number.
No, they appear to have some issues. They appear to have taken a pretty significant step back. I mean, I haven't watched them, but I've read about it. I watched a little bit of Saturday.
State or Ole Miss?
Ole Miss. Seems like I turned them on.
The 1-0 game?
In here. Yeah. Yeah, I did, because I watched some of the last few innings. It was on in here when I was trying to write recruiting.
Saturday was a weird game. Ole Miss 3 for 37 offensively on Saturday. I'm going to call it an anomaly right now. I think they did start pressing, though they absolutely, after about the first 3 or 4 innings, they started trying to hit the 9-run home run. They got frustrated. They were rolling over a lot of balls. It became contagious the other way, kind of like offense sometimes becomes contagious in a positive way. They just got to figure out starting pitching. Gaddis was really good on Saturday, gives them 7 scoreless innings. I wrote about it this morning. The bullpen throws 15.2 innings over the course of the 3 days. They only give up 2 runs during that stretch. They were excellent. A lot of freshmen contributed. Dylan DeLucia was really good as a JUCO transfer yesterday. But they are getting, relative to what they need, very little on Friday and very little on Sunday right now. Mike, he kind of let Derek off the hook a little on Friday. He talked about how he competed and fixed it for a minute, and it was not his best stuff, but he was okay. He really kind of put put McDaniel to the fire a little bit yesterday. Talked about he's got to be a lot better. Just got to compete more, all those kind of things. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, Mike's got a little bit of a negative reputation as far as it's not what he actually does. He's pretty good about switching up rotation pretty early in the season if he sees a glaring problem, and I think they're there to tinker a little bit. I think if he has any aspect where he might want to start Jack Doherty at some point in the first part of the season, this week's an interesting week to maybe give that a look because he did not throw over the weekend, just situational. He was not saving Doherty for any midweek stuff or anything like that. They just weren't in a save situation yesterday where they needed him because they were end up winning 9-1, and then they lost on Saturday in a weird game. But if you wanted to test it a little bit, you've got him completely rested with 2 midweeks coming up. He's going to throw Washburn on Tuesday, but I'll be curious to see what he does on Wednesday moving forward.
It's kind of an interesting thing in the SEC West if you think about it. I can't speak to LSU's pitching because I just don't know. But Arkansas lost their ace. Mississippi State has lost their ace. Ole Miss doesn't appear to have an ace.
Correct.
I mean, Friday nights in the SEC could be kind of interesting because usually it's a bunch of SEC aces going at each other, and it's a quick 2-hour and 10-minute 2-1 game.
That's not this year at all.
Doesn't appear that way. Ole Miss is having a hard time establishing its starting pitching. Arkansas is having a hard time finding a day one starter.
They've lost 2 Fridays already, I think.
I think so. Mississippi State obviously just lost their ace. And again, I can't speak to the others. That's the extent of my college baseball knowledge at this point.
But no, it's a different league. You don't have those just 8 to 12 first-round guys that are all battling it out and doing different things. That's not this league is offense heavy. It's where Georgia pitches pretty well. I'm kind of curious watching them as the year moves forward, but no, it's different. And I see a lot of, hey, just move John Gaddis. Well, if Gaddis is going to be an above-average elite Saturday guy, I'm hesitant to move him when that's such a different role. I let him try to go 8-2 on Saturdays and see what happens. A good example of that is Christian Trent. He couldn't lose as the day 2 guy in 2014. He was 10-0, whatever he was. He was tremendous. He competed his ass off. Moving to 15, and now that team wasn't nearly as good, so it was not all his fault, but he did not throw as well. There is a different feel to a Friday. And if I've got something really working in the middle of the rotation, I'm hesitant to just take him. And then it's almost like because you almost create 2 problems. What if he's not as good on Friday and now you're not as good on Saturday, and it starts tumbling on you a little bit?
You need 3 starters, no matter how you line them up. You need 3 starters, and if you don't have 3 starters, you have a problem. And right now, I don't think they have 3 starters.
And I don't think Mike is one of those guys that would be dedicated to completely pitching backwards with openers and stuff like that.
No, and I don't blame him. I'm not a fan. That can go sideways,
especially in college baseball. That can go sideways quick. Pretty volatile on what you're getting week to week, and just counting on that is a tough strategy. So we'll see.
It's a reason most people don't do it.
Yeah. Ole Miss staying at number 2 in the top 25 this week. Texas after a 2-1 week at the Shriners Classic. They beat LSU. They beat Tennessee. They lost to UCLA yesterday. Texas did. So they stay number 1 in that. I think LSU went maybe 1-2. I think Tennessee went 2-1. LSU went 1-2 there at that tournament, I believe is what happened. Texas already with 5 SEC wins on the season as they swept Alabama last week and then beat Tennessee and LSU over the course of the weekend. Longhorns pretty good.
Yeah.
So anyway,
they won't be intimidated to join in the SEC.
No, it'll be fine. It'll all be all right.
They'll do well.
Yeah, Oklahoma's kind of average. Texas is really good, obviously. Yeah. So that's sort of where it's at. All right, we'll shift gears in a second. First, I'd like to tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis through local underwriting and understands your market, leader in condo financing, the float-down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
Lots of conference tournaments starting this week. You can bet on those at BroThrow. It's BroThrow.com. It's a social sports betting network, free to use. Really cool, fun way to bet. No third party, no juice. Over time, that saves you money. You can start your own friends, make friends, invite your friends. Payment happens within 24 hours of the conclusion of your bet. You can take the other side of an existing bet, start a new bet, and more at BroThrow.com. Dead Soxy has a home run deal you don't want to miss. Watch the Ole Miss Oral Roberts baseball series this weekend with anticipation of an out-of-the-park sales event. At the conclusion of the series on Sunday, Dead Soxy will discount match the number of home runs the Rebels hit over the 3 games with a multiplier of 10 as a percentage discount that's going to be capped at 60%.
I was waiting on that. All right.
So if the Rebels hit 5 home runs in the series, the promo code will activate for 50% off, etc. The home run sale will run from the conclusion of the game on Sunday until midnight on March the 20th. So spring into action and take advantage of this incredible offer over the weekend. Visit deadsoxy.com. Use the promo code RebelGrove at checkout to receive the home run sale percentage of all orders. Off all orders, I should say. Game Changer Patches. Game Changer Patch Company is the sponsor of 10 Weekend Thoughts. That's up at rebelgrove.com. Lots of recruiting. There's like basically 4 recruiting stories in 10 Weekend Thoughts. Some SEC baseball stuff. Burton Webb's Recipe of the Week, links, and more. So a lot of stuff's there. I started to make a smart-ass comment, but I didn't. I stopped. Game Changer patches are the only 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch is used before or while you drink, and the overtime patch is used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. Automation and Control Systems, LLC, owned and operated by Clay McNutt in Baldwin, Mississippi, was established in 2013. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. They have a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. If you're in need of custom HMI and SCADA solutions or large horsepower VFD specialist, ACS has you covered. They can service and install Rockwell Automation, Allen Bradley, Siemens, ABB, Square D, and many other manufacturers. Get in touch with them at acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381.
Podcast also brought to you by Johnston Hill Creamery. That's 662-419-9201 or cheese at johnstonhillcreamery.com. Small batch artisanal cheese and fermentation, charcuterie, bakery, catering, grazing tables, and much more. So what do you need for an event coming up? Specialty trays. Call ahead and order. They're open 10 to 5 most days. You can find out more on their Instagram page as well. So just search johnstonhillcreamery.com on Instagram. More there with Johnston Hill Creamery. We'll be back in a second. We'll talk basketball coming up. Ole Miss losing 66-63 to Vanderbilt on Saturday. They play on Wednesday in Tampa for this one. What's got a chance to be a pretty good tournament, but Ole Miss sitting there as the 13 seed. Missouri, the 12 seed. They're the first game of the tournament, so the Rebels or Tigers will be the first one home. That is a 5 o'clock start on Wednesday, and then Georgia and Vanderbilt, the 11-14 game, they play at 7:30 on March the 9th. So,
yep,
captivating opening games there for the.
Look, if you're playing on Wednesday, the season didn't go well. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They're 4-14 in the league. That's very disappointing.
On Thursday, Texas A&M, the 8 seed, which suddenly actually has something to play for, they play the Florida Gators, a 9 seed. That is a huge game.
Oh, look.
Just a huge game.
Texas A&M is sitting there. It's right in front of them. No, it's a huge task. But if they beat Florida and then beat Auburn, they're in. They're in. You're going to win 2 games. And they're right there. And now, beating Florida is one thing.
Beating Auburn's another.
Beating Auburn's another, but they'll get their shot.
It's an opportunity. After blowing so many games and looking, frankly, like warmed over hell in the middle of the season.
They don't look like warmed over hell right now. They are playing with an intensity.
LSU plays the winner of Missouri and Ole Miss. LSU is the 5 seed. LSU obviously comfortable into the NCAA tournament. South Carolina and Mississippi State, a 7-10 game at 6 o'clock on Thursday. And then Alabama getting the winner of Vanderbilt and Georgia, the nightcap at scheduled 8 o'clock, but whatever time that is on Thursday night. Do they usually stay pretty close to schedule, or is it Hooverish where it gets stupid?
No, they do a pretty good job of staying.
But they're only putting 2 hours between. It would run a little over, but
2 hours between the 2 sessions?
Well, yeah. Well, no, never mind. I guess that's true. You only got 2 sessions, so it's not as big of a deal. Both games are going to start 15 minutes late, the second of each session, I would assume. Yeah. Something like that. And then, obviously, Auburn is the 1 seed. Arkansas is the 4. Tennessee is the 2. And Kentucky is the 3.
The top 4 teams in the league are legitimately really good. the 5 and 6 are scary. And again, it's in front of A&M. I mean, it's right there. They're 56 in the net. So they're going to play Florida on a neutral site. Florida's a 54. And then if they win, they get Auburn on a neutral site, and Auburn's a 10. You win it, you're probably in. Got to win it, though. A win over Florida.
Saying all that, I do not anticipate these things happening.
Auburn's just one of those weird teams.
If I told you Florida or A&M got in, which one's getting in?
A&M.
Oh, really? You think
that's me? I just don't like Florida's team at all.
And you think they're out?
I mean, they're 54 net. I'm looking at them. They're 19 and 12, 4 and 6 on the road, 3 and 1 on neutral floors. They are 2 and 9 against quad 1. A&M's 3 and 8 against quad 1. They're 4 and 2 against quad 2. A&M's 3 and 1 against quad 2. Florida's 6 and 0 against quad 3. A&M's 5 and 2. A&M has 2 quad 3 losses, which hurts you. Florida's 7 and 1. That loss to Texas Southern is sitting on their resume as like this bright light. And A&M's 8 and 0 against quad 4 teams. So, I mean, frankly, it's hard to make a super compelling argument for either of them. Though, if A&M were to win twice, you could make that argument. If Florida were to win twice, you could make that argument. But I think Florida's in the same boat A&M is in. They've got to go through each other. It's almost like beat Bobby Flay. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You got to go through each other to get to Bobby Flay. And if you beat Bobby Flay, you're good. Beating Bobby Flay is a difficult thing to do. Auburn is Bobby Flay.
Auburn is Bobby Flay today.
But you can beat them.
It is doable. I've seen it done.
Well, their guard play is so weird that if you can get them into a game late, you can beat them.
Yeah.
It's hard to get them into a game late because they're so good. And when they go through Smith and Kessler, they're an elite team.
Yeah.
But when they get late in games, final 4 minutes, and it becomes a guard game, they become very fallible. I think Bruce would tell you that.
Sure. Jackson, thanks for the super chat. He said McCants did have enough evidence to press charges against the umpire yet. McCants struck out twice on balls that were nowhere near the strike zone, including the first one when Ole Miss had, I guess, bases loaded at the time with 1 out, that you kind of would have liked to have seen that full count pitch because the ball was at his chin and the catcher did a bad job framing it, so it was a little strange you got that call. But nonetheless, and he says, what do you think about banning the shift?
I'm against it totally.
Yeah, I mean,
why would you ban the shift? Explain how you can make that a rule. The rule is you would
have to literally tell each position, you would have to give them areas to play in.
But why? The rule is you can put 9 people on the field, 1 has to pitch. That's the rule.
I completely agree with you. I'm playing.
So if I put
in football, why don't we just tell all 11 they can just go stand wherever they want on their side of the line of scrimmage?
Football has a rule about how many people have to be on the line of scrimmage.
Sure.
Baseball does not have that rule. Well, I guess you can, but why? What's the incentive to change it? Why? So that guys can hit more?
Would banning the shift even cause offenses to play differently? Would it even bring back, if you want the old way brought back of playing offense in the professional level?
Maybe. The pitching is so good that it's just different now.
Which is one of the reasons why it's much easier to get the 1 hit than it is 4.
Well, it's a much more swing and miss game now. So guys are swinging for fences because you're trying to maximize contact.
George Rowe pointing out the NBA bans some defenses.
Okay. The NBA has
What's banned? What is that? What can you not do?
Essentially, you have to play man. You can play some zone principles, but you can't just pack into a 2-1-2.
Oh, really? You can't?
No.
It's illegal?
They will call it an illegal defense. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. It's not my thing.
Yeah, and you get a free throw in the ball.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they want you to play man, and they don't want
But hold on a minute. But why?
Because it's more scoring, more excitement.
So that is why. They are doing the same thing we're talking about.
To create more one-on-ones.
When did that rule go in place?
As long as I can remember.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. Okay.
It's with the guy where he's in the paint and stuff like that. There's just some stuff. They don't call it very often.
Okay.
Because, frankly, if you play a zone against NBA teams, they're just going to bomb threes and laugh in your face.
Because they're going to get open looks.
Well, they're great shooters.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, you don't play in the league. And so the guys who are in the league to shoot are great shooters.
Yeah.
Like they're the guy that if they went to your YMCA, they'd make like 50 in a row from three and laugh at you.
Okay.
So if you pack in a zone, they'll shoot you the hell out of the zone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no clue. Okay. Who knew? Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly against it. I'm not quite as hard line, but yeah, I see no real reason to change.
I mean, I'm not against it per se. I just don't understand what the incentive is. I mean, if you want to put 7 people out in right field, do it. It's probably going to work against you at some point, but and they've been shifting forever, and that's just another thing for the umpires to have to call. So what's the? I mean,
you'd have to literally draw a line on the field.
I think you'd have to put lines on the field.
Yeah. Second baseman can't go past this. Shortstop can't go past this.
Is it at the pitch?
That's true too.
And then now the umpire's got to watch all of that. Hey, where was the second baseman when he let the ball go? It's too much. Just play.
Automatic strike zone. You're in, right?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay.
For sure.
You hate that's just part of a game for them to miss calls. Well,
yeah, no, fix it. That's fixable. But I'm not for having to watch the shortstop and the second baseman and the third baseman. Meanwhile, a ball potentially could be screaming at them in a quarter second. I'm not in favor of that. I'm in favor of making the umpire's job easier, not harder.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm for a robot. I'm absolutely for the robot strike zone.
What's Florida going to do with Mike White?
Depends on who you talk to.
He's owed a lot of money.
He's owed a lot of money. And I think people forget. Frankly, I forgot a little bit until I saw it on Saturday. They were built around Keontae Johnson.
They were.
And he almost died. Didn't play. I mean, they're a different team over the last 2 years. Thank God he's okay, apparently.
Yeah.
But, they're a different team if a healthy Keontae Johnson's on the floor.
Oh, sure.
I mean, they would have probably made a tournament run last year. I mean, he was the preseason SEC Player of the Year, for God's sake.
Right, he was.
Yeah.
Do you think he's okay? Your guess?
I'm 50-50, flip a coin.
I think the money is so much that he's okay. I do think it is prohibitive.
It appears around the country right now that even Missouri, for example, Conzo Martin, the money is an issue. What's it worth to buy out coaches? And then who do you go get? So if you're Florida, when you fire Mike White and pay him, what do they owe him, 10?
I think it's more than that. I think it's literally closer to like 15.
So let's call it $13 million.
Sure.
Okay, then what? That's always been my thing is then what?
Not his problem, and you got to pay the next guy.
Yeah, because he walks out the door with his check, and now you got to bring a new guy in, and how's he going to be significantly better? Maybe he can. Maybe that's just a great job sitting there waiting to happen, but I don't know.
I just don't see it as a great job waiting to happen. It doesn't really link up very much.
Well, I mean, there are multiple jobs in the league that are just better than that one. It's a good job. Is it as good as Kentucky? No. Is it as good as Arkansas? No. Tennessee? No. LSU? No. I mean,
for sure, those
are
the only for sure
better jobs.
Yeah, I'm not going any farther on.
So, yeah, I just don't know who you go get. I mean, do you go young? Do you go? What do you do? I mean, Mike's a great guy. He's working his ass off. Probably too clean. I don't know. We'll see. Thursday feels like a big game for Mike.
Yeah. The Ole Miss women beat Florida in the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament before losing to South Carolina in the semifinals. They are projected by ESPN to be a 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. That would put them, or at least the projection has them in Iowa City. playing Gonzaga in round one.
Now that is a reward.
They are in a quad in the projection. I'm assuming Selection Sunday is Sunday.
It is.
Is that right? Or Monday?
I think it's Sunday.
Is it Sunday?
I believe so.
Okay. The projection has Ole Miss the 6 seed with Gonzaga the 11, Iowa the 3, and Southern Illinois the 14 in that quad. Getting seated just above 3 SEC teams, which are at number 7, which you don't see that very often. Kentucky, Georgia, and Florida all on the number 7 line. Charlie Cream, who does women's basketball NCAA projections, said that the NCAA, and they do this for men and women, they can move you up or down one line to make the bracket work. And that a couple of the SEC teams, frankly, should be 6s, but they had to move them to do some different things and to make the bracket work. So,
first world problems.
So they're at 7, and that's where it is. And
what a reward, though, to get to go to Iowa City. I mean,
women's basketball does those pod things where they let teams play at home if you were the whatever the seed.
Smart.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, I have no issue there.
It's smart.
The SEC projected to get 9 teams into the SEC tournament. I mean, the NCAA tournament from a women's standpoint.
Yeah.
Missouri, an 11 seed, I believe, is the lowest ranked one, unless I missed something when I scanned it. LSU at 2. They've done a good job in the first year under Kill Mulkey.
Imagine that.
That was going to be a good hire. She's psychotic at times, but
which times is she not?
I think it was Bennett hit. Maybe if it wasn't Bennett, like I'm giving you credit for. Somebody said Mulkey on the court makes Will Wade look damn near likable, which not completely wrong at times. So I'll admit it's
Can you imagine how pissed off Nate Oates was Saturday? Had him beat.
That love lost is not going away, is it? That's sticking for a while.
They don't like each other.
And the players at this point are well in on the situation.
Oh, sure. That game was a great game. Arkansas-Tennessee was a great game. Arkansas was down 25 points in Knoxville. I might have been more impressed with Arkansas in a loss than I was in all of the wins. To come back and make that a 2-point game and with the ball, that was impressive. It's got a chance to be a great tournament. Friday has another LSU-Arkansas game on Friday. The last time they played, it was an absolute rock fight. I mean that in a positive way. A positive way. I mean, they were trying to kill each other. If it goes by chalk, you get Auburn against a desperate team in the 8-9.
Mm-hmm.
You get is Tennessee the 2? Tennessee's.
I think that's right. I think it's Kentucky the 3, Arkansas the 4.
Yeah, so you get Tennessee's the 2 playing the 7-10 winner. I guess that'd be the dud game.
That's Carolina State.
Yeah, that's a dud. You get Kentucky against Alabama, which is a good game, and you get Arkansas LSU if it goes by chalk, which is a potentially great game.
And if it stayed chalk in the semis, you would get Auburn, Arkansas, and Tennessee, and Kentucky.
And here's the thing: if you're not playing on Friday, the SEC tournament, you do have to reevaluate where you are. If you're not playing on Friday, you do have to reevaluate where you are. And I'm the one storyline with Ole Miss, and I said this a week ago, I'm going to reiterate it today. It got misinterpreted by some people, which is predictable. If you're not making a change, and I don't think Ole Miss is, I'm not positive on that, but I don't think they are.
Sure.
You do have to come out with I think you have to tell people why. There was no one at the game Saturday. That's hyperbolic, but not, you know what I mean?
It was bad. You and I both, we neither one were there. We saw pictures. It was rough.
I mean, I've talked to people who said 2,000. I have no idea. Is that hyperbolic?
And they did senior day, and I get it's before the game, and I get it's never full. It was a awful crowd for the senior day portion of the thing.
That's what the kid from Oxford.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to reevaluate where you are, and if you're not making change and you're moving forward, you do. I think you don't have to. You don't know the media a damn thing, but I do think if you want fans to come to games next season, you want fans to invest in your program, you want fans to invest emotional and financial capital into your program, I think you're going to have to explain to them why you are where you are and how you plan to get out of it. because this is 2 out of the last 3 years. People, I said this the other day, people do the pandemic thing with Ole Miss. Ole Miss finished its season that year hours before the pandemic ended college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They finished their season the traditional way, losing to Georgia and going 6-13 in the SEC. So this year they're 4-14, playing a team in Missouri that they've lost to twice. If they lose on Wednesday, you're 4-15 in the league. You can't walk away from that, go into a press conference. This isn't me picking on Kermit. It's just if I were advising, you can't say, we were just a few buckets away. No, A&M was a few buckets away. When you go 4-15, you weren't a few buckets away.
Again, this is not scientific. I told Neal this yesterday. I ran a poll on Saturday, and I put it up. I guess the basketball game was just beginning. It had just started, and the baseball game was in somewhere in the middle to late innings at that point of Saturday, regulation, the 9 innings of the 12 innings they played. And the options, it was a Twitter poll, and the options were you're at hoops if you're an Ole Miss fan, you're watching hoops, you're watching baseball, or none of the above. I didn't include the women's basketball game, which actually was also going on at this time too, and I got a couple write-ins on that.
Because they tipped off an hour before the men's game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you are, most people are kind of on Twitter following the other games, even if you're consumed by whatever. The results. At hoops, 0.8%. Watching hoops, 2.7%. None of the above, 12.2%. Watching baseball, 84.3%. On ESPN Plus, which is an additional add-on pay from what you have to get for SEC Network Plus, non-con against Central Florida in a game that had no bearing on the season whatsoever.
In March.
Yeah,
in a game that...
Again, not scientific, but those results are staggering.
Yeah.
Versus the final home game of the season from a basketball standpoint.
Yeah. And I reiterate what I said earlier. If you look around the country, look at some of the crowds at other places.
So this is not blaming fans, okay? You guys go wherever you want. No. You watch whatever the hell you want to watch.
No, absolutely not.
And I've been around this for a really long time. I don't know that from the fan that is kind of interacting and whatnot, that you got your diehards in every sport. Sure, they're going to follow no matter what. That's going to be their thing. It's not and never been less cool to be a basketball fan at Ole Miss right now than right now. Football's winning. Baseball's got stuff, if nothing else.
Well, if you're sitting in the room, right? If you're sitting in the room when Keith Carter has a staff meeting or something, someone has to say the magic words, which is apathy is the worst thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anger means we're engaged.
Yeah.
Hey, anger's good.
Yeah.
You want them pissed off.
Pitchforks and stuff marching down the street, they're motivated.
Yeah.
The parade, they're motivated.
Yeah. It's the I don't care.
I don't know. I don't even know who they're playing. There was a basketball game.
Yeah.
That kind of apathy is not good.
Yeah.
And for all of the jokes of this is March, watch games this week.
Oh, sure.
Watch games this week and tell me you don't want to be engaged in that.
Yeah, sure.
And when people do how come college baseball doesn't get more TV? Because the product is really hard to televise.
It is.
Basketball is not. It's a 2-hour window. You can put games. You can stack them. You want to be a part of that. You do. If you're an athletics program, you want that publicity.
Yeah.
You want to be playing meaningful basketball in March. You want to be on quarterfinal Friday at the SEC tournament.
Right. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPRC. Service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service available, parental controls, network security, and much more. So get the best internet in Lafayette County. Again, that's 662-238-3159.
We're also brought to you by Lammon's Fine Jewelry. Lammon's is at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. They've been serving the Oxford area for about 75 years. Engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. Lammon's, the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lammonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 234-2777. Also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products, same great services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern 662-429-4429. The College Corner is your one-stop Rebel shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, just go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They've got the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. Also brought to you by Pinnacle. Pinnacle based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and so much more. You can learn more at mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide travel network that allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. You really want to go through a travel person if you're traveling, especially if you're leaving the country. My brother's going to the Virgin Islands this week. All sorts of COVID protocols, things that he's got to do. Bit of a nightmare, frankly, if you don't know what you're doing. So get in touch with John. Just give him some parameters. Give him a budget. He'll give you options. And know this, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. Also brought to you by Opa, Oxford's newest restaurant on the historic square. They have a delicious menu featuring gyros, wraps, kebabs, redfish, lamb chops, and more. Handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, an amazing candlelit patio, all of that at 306 South Lamar in Oxford. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's Grenada Nissan, USA.com.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync to fill your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. Also, with Right Way Meds, they'll individually package your medication for those who need that extra step. That can save lives in some circumstances with some people. So, again, in Oxford or Holly Springs, that's G&M or Tyson Drugs, 662-236-2222. NFL Combine. We'll probably talk a little more about this tomorrow because, frankly, I am not as prepared on that as I sort of expected to be. But that's fine. I got all week. It's not going anywhere. We got plenty of draft time to talk about the draft.
Yes.
Prior to it happening, Sam Williams made some money. He had a good 40.
Mm-hmm.
Not a surprise there at all. Sam's going to make a lot of money. I thought Snoop did pretty well between all of his different scores. Had a good bench press number. He acclimated well. Otherwise, it was just kind of okay. Braylon was like a 4.42, 4.41, did really, really well, but it is an insanely fast wide receivers class. He finished 11th or 12th in wide receiver 40 times at a 4.41, 4.12.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean, it's guys have figured out how to maximize all of. Frankly, it's made the 40 time kind of stupid and not indicative of much. Like I've seen Eric at home and some people point out the 10 fastest 40 times in history, and the guys. There's just as many busts as guys have worked out because you're preparing for an event that doesn't necessarily relate to football at all at this point, and we're trying to decide what effort to put onto that.
And you're leaving from a stance that you'll never run either.
That too. It's a little
misleading. Speaking of 40s, Chance Campbell silenced some critics.
That wasn't a surprise.
It was to a lot of critics.
It wasn't a surprise.
Not to me. Not to you. Not to people who watched him.
No. He ran about the 40 I expected.
Yeah. But a lot of people are like, oh, he's a 4.75, 4.8 guy. And I'm like, no, he's not. He's faster than that.
Yeah.
I was happy for him.
Got a shot.
Yeah, I was happy for his family. I think he'll get drafted and he'll make a team.
Yeah, Jordan Davis at Georgia ran a 4.8 at 360 pounds or whatever it was.
He made a lot of money.
He's an athletic dude.
A tremendous amount of money was made by him.
Him, and then who I believe is going to be the number one pick, Evan Neal, weighing what he weighs and looking like that at that weight.
Well, I've been saying this for a while now.
You were on the at one point those mocks had Charles Cross ahead of Evan Neal, and Neal's ever going,
no,
hold on, no.
I would have been hand raised guys in those rooms.
Yeah, I said
nothing against Mr. Cross, sir.
Yeah. But that dude.
The dude at Alabama. Just, yes. Star.
He looks a lot like Laramie, frankly. They're very similar.
He's a better run blocker than Laramie.
I mean, like literally.
But
physique.
physique. Yeah, they're very similar.
Because I saw Laramie doing some off-season stuff with the shirt off a couple days ago. And that's what you look like.
Yeah, sure.
And he has obviously fitted up much more than when he came out.
He would be the first if I were drafting.
Evan Neal.
Yeah. Unless he's who I would draft. A left tackle for the next 12 years? Yeah, sign me up. I can mark that off my worry list. Yep.
Yeah. I think Hutchinson will go to the Lions. Hometown kid, the whole deal. I think they will.
Okay.
They'll do that. Yeah.
Congrats to the rest of the NFC
Detroit.
North. Yeah. That is just not the place to do the local kid thing.
So I was reading here, it's The Athletic, and one of their kind of here's 10 things from articles. I found you with your former Bears fandom. I thought you'd find this interesting. I think you fully converted to the Bengals at this point.
Yes.
And I'll get to them in a minute. But they have a headline on The Athletic today that the headline is, speaking of quarterback desperation, there's something else every time I'm above that.
Okay.
Perhaps you've seen reports that Mitch Trubisky could be in demand as a starter, commanding an 8-figure contract.
Wait. Hold up. Did you say Mitch Trubisky or like
any other Trubisky?
Kenny
right?
Trubisky? Is there another? Why?
Well, real quick, the fun fact before that was from 2017 to 2021, 5 NFL seasons, 3 teams have had 5 different starting quarterbacks on opening day 5 years in a row.
Okay.
The Colts, the Broncos, and the Commanders have had. Case Keenum has been a starter on 2 of those teams.
Yes.
Over that 5-team period. And then
Which tells you how hard it is to get quarterbacks.
Yes. And if you want to look at the other side of it, there are 5 teams in the NFL who have had the same starting quarterback each of those 5 seasons. Those are the Pittsburgh Steelers, who obviously won't now, Seattle, Green Bay, Dallas, and Atlanta are the ones with that. So anyway, back to Trubisky for a second. It says here, and I'm quoting, "Imagine studying Trubisky's career, noticing the Chicago Bears had a 35-25 record in his starts, and thinking that kind of team success might be replicable elsewhere with Trubisky in the lineup. Believing that requires focusing on the Bears' questionable offensive coaching, personnel, and thinking one season as a backup in Buffalo has helped Trubisky, while discounting quantifiable factors. The
coaching part of this, by the way, is very, very...
The best thing about 2021 for Trubisky is that he didn't have to play. It's an interesting thing here. This shows exactly what we've all thought, but I love when we get numbers to it.
Uh-huh.
Trubisky is one of 55 quarterbacks to make at least 30 regular season and postseason starts over the last decade. His Chicago offenses rank 40th out of the 55 in expected points added per game, according to True Media. His combined Bears defenses and special teams rank 3rd among the 55.
Yes.
3rd.
I'm aware.
You're aware.
Yes.
They were an NFL Super Bowl winning defense and special teams.
Yes.
If you've got a dominant defense, special teams, you might also win 56% of your games despite getting poor production from your quarterback and offense. If you do not possess those things and decide to sign Trubisky anyway, you're betting on a Trubisky-led offense performing better than Trubisky-led offenses have performed across 60 starts in the past, perhaps much better depending on how weak your defense and special teams might be, and someone is willing to potentially pay him $10 to $15 million.
Well, you're betting on him to be much better. I don't doubt that he's going to get a little better, and that the Bears coaching in those years that Trubisky was there, if you've read some of the stories, and I've linked them in 10 Thoughts frequently, it wasn't all Mitch's fault. In fact, most of it probably wasn't Mitch's fault. They had no semblance of a plan a lot of times, and they asked Mitch Trubisky to do things that Mitch Trubisky wasn't good at, instead of sticking with the things that he was good at. But still.
And he suffered from what Daniel Jones is also suffering from, is when somebody reaches for you to the point, your expectations change beyond what your ability level is.
Sure. Yeah.
We have different thoughts on Mitch Trubisky if he was taken 28th overall.
But I think Jones is better than Trubisky.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
You know, I mean, he seems like a really good guy. Yeah, Luke makes a great point. And it's funny, you do wonder what would happen if that had happened differently.
That doink.
He led that drive down the field on a year when their defense was elite. And dude missed the field goal. If he makes that field goal and they win that game, he gets a playoff win. Do you judge him differently at that point? Because we put a lot of stock in playoffs in the NFL, as we should. It's the reason that everybody goes, Lamar Jackson, I don't know. It's not regular season because he's dominant. It's those playoff games, boy, we do it with Dak.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Dak's regular season numbers, and you go, hey, big-time quarterback. Look at his playoff numbers, and you're like, I don't know.
Andy Dalton over the years.
Yeah, Dalton, for all the jokes, was a
really good regular season
was an above-average regular season quarterback.
Got in the playoffs a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Bengals, and I read the original story, and I know you're going to be shocked by this in journalism in 2022. The aggregation made it sound much different than it actually was in the original content.
No.
Yeah, a little bit. However, in saying that, I still think it's an interesting quote. Did you see this?
I did not.
The Cincinnati special teams coordinator.
Okay.
His name is Darren Simmons.
Okay.
He talked to The Athletic from the Combine over the course of the week, and he asked him about McPherson, the kicker for the Bengals.
But the whole deal at the halftime thing?
That is correct,
Who
yes.
gives a shit?
Quote from Simmons, "That's a sore subject. That's a really sore subject." Hold on. Be careful if you're the special teams coach, right? Like,
yes.
You're going to lose this battle if it becomes to a battle here. And again, I'm going to go through a couple of the things. It's not as whatever.
Dude didn't miss kicks all year. Not only that,
he went 28 of 33 in the regular season, and then he went 14 for 14 in the postseason, including 2 game winners.
Pretty good.
As a rookie.
I don't care if he's as a 70-year-old man or a 10-year-old. You ask your kicker to do one thing. Go make kicks. That's it.
You don't really give a shit what he's doing any other time of the day or the week or the anything else, are you?
Just go make kicks. When we send you out there to win the game, go win it. And Evan McPherson did. So what was he going to do for 35 minutes in a locker room? Work on, hey, Joe, I noticed that. No, go kick ball. Kick ball through post. He's really good at it. If he wants to go watch Snoop Dogg and Eminem, all power to him. Don't do anything with your foot. Just kick.
Also worth noting, his long snapper also stayed on the field but was not in the view of the cameras.
And all you're asking him to do is snap ball.
Don't care what he does either.
Snap ball.
And a kicker is one of the most mental things in the world too. Like he kind of gets treated like left-handed pitchers. Like if you need to go do something weird, go do something weird. Just come back and holler when you're
Well, for those who've never been to a football practice, so at football practice they all come out on the field and they do their stretchy thing and they do their agility drills and stuff. And then the kickers all leave. They literally leave the practice field and go, I don't know, play cards or something. I don't know what they do. And then they come back near the end of practice to do the kicking portion of practice.
16 postseason field goals, which tied the NFL record. He had 5 walk-off game winners throughout the season, including 2 which came in the playoffs.
Yeah. He was really good.
And his 12 field goals from 50-plus smashed the team's previous single-season record of 3. And already set the franchise's career mark. So the guy gives the weird quote here. And now he's challenging him beyond that. There's a little bit of self-importance here. Because I'm sure he can help the kickers, but it's almost kind of like a golf coach a little bit. Like, just stay out the damn way.
Yeah.
We're not changing swing planes here. Let's just...
Well, especially when the dude's just hitting birdie after birdie after birdie, you don't go, what you ought to do? No, you just go, hey, would you like a water?
So then they ask him, what do you need from him in year 2 and beyond? And he goes, we certainly need to improve kickoffs, the consistency on kickoffs. One of the major things this offseason is I got to get his field goal leg to equate to what he does in kickoffs. He has a very, very powerful field goal leg. It's not that he doesn't have a powerful kickoff leg, but we got to get the power transferred into kickoffs more consistently than we did this year.
Okay, we weren't going to do that at halftime. Him watching Dr. Dre didn't impact his kickoffs.
We're going to go, hey, Evan, try something new this
in the
half.
second half of that
Okay,
game.
so I'm still going. I promise I've got a point in a minute. And then they talked about, hey, basically touchback percentage, and the guy goes, well, Evan can do so many things. That's not really fair. We need him to be able to gauge his power when we need to touch back, when we don't need to touch back. Essentially, he's got more tools in his toolbox than most kickers do, and we need to harness that in these different things.
Okay.
Which is a good answer. Fine. I have no issue with that whatsoever.
Cool.
But then here, he needs to become a better practice kicker and kick better than he has. It's not that it's poor, but I think for him to be a lead and go over the top, he's got to kick better in practice and learn new things. He doesn't like this kid. And you're going to lose if you go head-to-head with McPherson right now. Well, do you like your job?
This is like Allen Iverson here. We're talking about practice? I mean,
he chose this time to point out to a reporter that McPherson is a bad practice kicker.
Not a game. Practice. The dude that...
Because the Bengals head coach couldn't give two damns about his practice kicking right now.
The dude that knocked in the game winner in Nashville, the game winner in Kansas City. I mean, stop. Just... Stop yourself. They don't even have an indoor practice facility in Cincinnati. It gets cold there. You're worried about what he does on Wednesday? No. If he's making kicks, like Ginger said, if he's kicking an oblong ball made of pigskin through a big giant H on Sunday, I don't care what else he does. I don't care if he wears a Wizard of Oz costume to practice on Thursday. I just don't care. I mean, my interaction with him would be, hey, McPherson, you doing good? Good.
I'm not misreading this right, though, right? He doesn't like
He doesn't like the kid.
He thinks he's grandstanding.
Well, this is a football coach wanting everybody to be football.
Yeah.
He's a kicker. He kicks balls through a big H, and he does it remarkably well. And as long as he does, leave him the hell alone. Because you know how this works in the league. The day that he stops successfully kicking said pigskin.
It doesn't matter that he's a great practice player.
Or the greatest guy in the world. They're going to cut him. In the NFL, you miss a couple of kicks, it's like, hey, dude, we're going to have
trouble. Yeah, he's frustrated by his rookie kicker being a cocky SOB, not realizing that being a cocky SOB is helping him kick. Because he never thinks he's missing a kick.
On a team where the lead dude is cocky.
Yes.
So the fact that McPherson walks up to Joe Burrow and goes, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl. Watch this. And then follows through and does it? Why do you mess with that?
I mean,
why do you fool with that? I don't touch it. I'll leave him alone. I mean, I say, hey, everything good? How's your mom and them? Really? Good. Great. See you Sunday. Game's at noon. Probably need you here by 11.
Yeah, there's some stuff. Real sore subject. Really mad he watched Snoop.
But the practice thing, no. And if I'm Taylor, the head coach, I'm calling my boy Simmons. Darren Simmons in and going, hey, Darren, shut up.
You know he was pissed when he reads the quotes. Going, really?
Why are we borrowing trouble?
Everybody laughed at it. Everybody moved on. It's all good.
He watched Snoop. It's all good. It didn't impact a damn thing. It was a normal, and in fairness to him, kickers normally go in and they get like a drink of water.
And come back out.
And probably go use the bathroom or whatever, check their phone, and then they come back out real quick, and they're the first ones back out on the field. So at the Super Bowl, because you're doing the whole show with Dr. Dre and Mary J. Blige and all that stuff, you got to set up a stage and take down a stage.
It would actually been abnormal for him to stay in the locker room for 40 minutes.
What's he going to do in there?
Yeah.
Take a nap? I mean, he just came back out walking. He might have just been wanting to keep the juices flowing, and it might be that he really likes Dr. Dre. I don't know. What difference does it make?
Yeah.
He's not involved in the scheme. Hey, guys, we've got to block up Aaron Donald better. Well, he's like, well, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, you want me to do it? I can't block him. I'm here to kick ball, and I do it really, really well. And had he lined up to kick a field goal to win that game at the end, everybody would have said that somebody's going to make it.
Yeah, sure.
So he went out and watched Eminem. It's all good.
Yeah.
Who cares? I would have just said, literally, if I'd been Darren, whatever his name is, hey, was he good? Did you enjoy the show?
If at some point in the next 18 months Darren Simmons is fired, it's going to be more because of his comments and how his special teams has done.
Yeah.
Because we just don't even need the trouble.
No, he needs to call him and go, hey, Dr. Dre's going on tour. You want a ticket?
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, just leave him alone.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
So if you love eating shrimp, don't particularly like choosing the right option in the store or cooking it at home, you're not alone. Most frozen shrimp available at the store is raised and processed 8,000 miles away and subject to poor farming practices. Don't let a bad option ruin dinner for you. Choose New Orleans-based Prime Shrimp and take pride in the shrimp you eat. They've been peeling and processing shrimp for 70-plus years. They know how to do it right. Shop primeshrimp.com for a risk-free purchase. Money-back guaranteed. Shipped straight to your door. Use the code MPW for $20 off your first order. They have their new flavor, Louisiana Shrimp Boil, available right now there. And remember, it's freezer to plate in less than 10 minutes. So primeshrimp.com.
I mean, the more I think about it, just, man.
It's kind of stupid.
Really stupid. Just, someone said, was he sipping on gin and juice? Even if he was, I'd just leave him alone until he starts missing kicks. Of a mailbag up on Wednesday. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt, Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes, 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. We're also brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. They've been connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. Are you on the job hunt? Whether you're seeking an entry-level position or you're a seasoned professional, they have opportunities across the board: IT, engineering, dentistry, accounting, manufacturing, human resources. Maybe you don't even know what you're looking for, but they can help you at Service Specialists. Their goal is to get to know you, your strengths, and see what you're looking for in your next career move and to find you the right fit. It's free for the candidate. All conversations are kept confidential, so you have nothing to lose by giving them a call. If your company is looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent, Service Specialists can help you. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if you decide to hire a candidate that they send. You have nothing to lose, so give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call at 662-832-5138. Check out their new and improved website at servicespecialistltd.com. Brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers. From work to lifestyle to nightlife, there's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. Also brought to you by Corinth Dental. Every day they're helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick and Dr. Bubba McQueen are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. So call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months. No interest, no down payment. Financing available at corinthdental.com. Brought to you by Bell & Grove, based out of Chattanooga. Bell & Grove is a logistics provider with more than 35 years of transportation industry experience. They specialize in domestic freight movement throughout the continental U.S. They can navigate through supply chain issues while also leaning on their partner carriers to get the most competitive rate possible for their customers. In addition, Bell & Grove can help customers design a custom solution for their shipping needs. Whether your business is in need of moving a truckload, a partial shipment, or a flatbed, Bell & Grove can accommodate you. They provide both air and ground expedited services for customers who need to move product quickly. For more information, call Daryl Oliver, 865-672-6557. And it was another successful weekend for Southern Traditions. Lots of awards won, tickets punched to national competitions in Kentucky and such. It's if you want to learn more about Southern Traditions, get in touch with Bowers Cone 1. It's BOWERS Cone, the number 1, at gmail.com, or message them on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm. It's a 68-acre, 32-stall, upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails. It's all offered at Southern Tradition, including they got beginner lessons, nationally recognized competitions, lots of training, a lot of things going on there at Southern Traditions Farm.
So what did you think of the Carolina Duke thing the other night?
Well, I mean, I hope to one day be as happy about someone losing as Jeffrey Wright was about Duke losing. It was funny. I was laughing at Jeffrey's Twitter. kudos to Hubert Davis
Yeah.
in North Carolina because they kicked that ass. And I'm not a K guy. He bugs me.
You know, what's funny about K is that people like greatness. Like, typically you'll give a lot of benefit of the doubt to people who are, legends and great and all those different things. And I get Duke basketball is pretty easy to hate.
Yeah.
Even though I always kind of found myself pulling for Duke instead of Carolina for no real reason.
I don't
care. But I always kind of pull for Duke
recently.
over Carolina. Well, that's my point, is that K is so abrasive and just hard to like that even with all the accolades, you go, yeah, no. And usually you'll kind of, you kind of want that. I mean, you sort of pull for the elite.
Like in the 90s, I always cheered for them.
Yeah.
That team with Grant Hill and Christian Laettner and all that was one of the best. I loved that team. I loved the way they played, and Bobby Hurley was the scrappy point guard, and Brian Davis and Antonio Lang and all those guys. I love those guys. And he's had great teams since then. But if I could go back and change a handful of things, Gordon Hayward's half-court shot falls.
Ooh.
It falls. God, that would have been awesome.
They really would have.
Wouldn't that have been great to watch Mike Krzyzewski lose on a half-court shot to Butler in the title game? Oh, just feed that straight into my... So
I do hate Butler never got one.
And I like Hubert Davis. And Hubert Davis, to me, has made North Carolina more likable. And I enjoyed watching them just beat that ass. And they beat their ass Saturday night.
They did.
Duke's got 5 first-round picks. And then Krzyzewski does the deal where he, unacceptable, I apologize, it's unacceptable. Shut up, man. Just shut up. But kind of bugged. And then the sappiness of it all. You're retiring. Okay. It's not over yet. You still got an ACC tournament, an NCAA tournament. Wouldn't you love them to lose a 2-15 game in the first round? Wouldn't that just be great? Like, drop one to
Longwood or Loyola somebody.
Yeah, Longwood. Yeah. I'd feel things.
I think you think Hubert Davis actually can put a winner there?
Yeah, I think so.
You think they can be elite?
Yeah. It's North Carolina.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think so. Could probably got to get his footing. But yeah, I think so.
Yeah, last thing, we're getting to conference tournament week, obviously. Of the 6 locks, what do you rate their chances of at least Elite 8 or better?
Ooh.
SEC teams.
Well, I love Kentucky's chances to get to the Elite
You give
Eight.
them the best chance.
I love Auburn's chance. Listen, those 4 teams, that stat that you talked about the other day, and John Calipari tweeted about it. Those 4 teams, 35-1 at home.
Correct.
Arkansas lost its SEC opener at home to Vanderbilt by 1 point, and then won the rest of its home games. The other 3 teams, clean slate. Those 4 teams are all legitimately good. They can beat you in different ways. They're gritty. They're well coached. I don't know how much you've watched of those 4 teams.
I think so.
They're really good teams.
You're putting Kentucky 1.
I'd probably put Kentucky 1. I think I'd go.
I mean, I get it's matchup dependent.
I think I'd go Auburn 2.
Okay.
Probably Arkansas 3 because they can beat you in a couple of different ways. And Tennessee 4. But if you told me Tennessee was a Final Four team, I'd completely buy it.
Bama or LSU 5?
LSU.
Really?
Yeah, they're good.
Bama has such a defensive issue.
Yeah.
That
LSU's really good. Tari Eason doesn't get credit, and he might be a 7th or 8th pick in the draft.
Then last thing, LSU signing Jaden Daniels, the quarterback at Arizona State. So now they have a quarterback room of Miles Brennan, the Nussmeier kid, and Jaden Daniels. So starting quarterback Jaden Daniels for the Tigers this fall.
I would think.
Yeah.
He was fine.
That's what everybody goes, oh, God, he got whatever. And it's like he started 3 seasons at Arizona State and threw for 6,000 yards. It's like, hold on, let me do some math real quick.
I mean,
okay,
it's good. Little different league coming to.
Yeah.
look, I mean, you know what's coming in the fall. The SEC is going to be brutal. There's no such thing as it's like when people go through the schedules and go W, L with this
magic marker.
Hey, you might want to get some erasable ink, champ. I mean, there's just not too many games on the schedule that you go W or L in SEC play.
Yeah. I think Vanderbilt's going to suck again. But.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Ole Miss, for example, I mean, you look at Alabama and you're like, probably not. And then you look at Vanderbilt and you go W.
Yeah.
There's a couple others that you go, I feel pretty good about it. But then there's other games, and that's one of them at LSU. No one's going, oh, that's a win.
Oh, sure.
Any more than you're going, that's a loss.
Sure.
It's going to be a
difficult game.
Going to be a difficult game to navigate.
Yeah. So, all right, coverage at rebelgrove.com. Again, Ole Miss and Missouri. That is Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Got some baseball content up. We'll try to find out whatever's going on with Kevin Graham when we know that. And more. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning for another edition of the show. So take care. Have a good day. And we'll talk to you then.